calculators real quick. 18 months create $400,000 worth of value, about 30%.
The price changes based on who your tenant is and what they can pay. Small owner that's not playing in that space and doesn't know that world is going to completely miss out.
And then in 18 months, we're going to look at doing a cash out refinance, and our new value is going to be $35 million. And so within 18 months, we're going to have created almost $1 million worth of value simply by going to the tenants within the first couple of months that we're there and executing this business plan.
He's also being conservative, right?
Welcome back, everybody, to Making Money on Mondays, Money Making Mondays, Money Mondays, with me, Alex Coffman. And today, we're going to be talking about underwriting deals. Okay, so for everybody who is interested in buying commercial real estate deals, building wealth through commercial real estate, you're in the right spot and you have the right mindset, because commercial real estate deals and real estate in general is the fastest, the easiest, the most accessible, the longest lasting way to build generational wealth for you, for your family, and for everybody to come. Now, there's a few things that you need in place, right? And we talk about these things often. You know, I think a couple times ago we talked about a team, what team members you need, how to go out and find investors and raise capital from investors. Well, today we're going to be talking about underwriting deals, right? In order to buy deals, you need to know if you got a good deal. And if you got deals being sent to you, you need to know how to underwrite these deals and take them to a place where you can actually get them done. The majority of deals that you see and that are sent to you are not going to be deals, and they're most likely not going to work. If that was the case, then everybody would be buying every deal that gets sent to them. But you got to work these deals. These deals are, they're moldable. You can move them in whatever direction you want, and so long as it works with the seller, and it works with you, and it works with the banks and your partners and everybody else who's involved, then you can structure these deals in a way that works and makes sense. But today we're going to be talking about underwriting these deals so that you can see if you got a good deal or if you don't, or where you need to take that deal next. And some of the key factors to underwriting are what we have with our deal requirements. If you don't have a copy of this, as well as these right here, these are things that we give away for free. I'll ship these to you. It is our 10-minute deal method. It's how to underwrite a deal and see if you got a deal in 10 minutes or less. And you also get some bonuses that come with it too. You get the deal documents checklist to make sure you have every single document you would need in order to write this deal up for purchase and sale, and also with your tenants and your residents. But also you have your due diligence checklist. Every single item you're going to need to complete in the due diligence process is right here inside this. And you just follow it, check it off, make sure it's assigned to the right person, make sure you complete it by the correct due date, whenever it needs to be completed by, and your notes. But you can get a copy of this stuff. You just pay for the shipping. I'll ship it to you. Where's it at, Kat? TREuniversity.com/10-minute method. We're going to put it in the chat as well, but we're going to be operating from this, okay? This is not just some, fancy little sheet that I created. This is the stuff that we use to underwrite every single deal that we have. Now, I'm not going to go through all of it today because a lot of this involves market knowledge that you need to know and should know if you're going to be underwriting these deals and looking at them. But today we're going to be underwriting just a few areas of the deals, right? So the first step in underwriting deals is run it through your 10-minute deal method here, okay? Run through 10-minute deal method. We're going to get to the equations today. But after you run it through the 10-minute deal method and you spot what the opportunity is, what the value is, how much equity you're going to be walking into day one, what your multiple exits are, how good the location is, how good is the investor demand of other people wanting to buy this deal and or buy it from you. Number 7, great cash flow. Number 8, great financing. And number 9, great management. Then you need to structure this deal, okay? You need to structure the deal in a way that makes sense, right? Because just because the seller is asking for a specific price doesn't mean that the deal makes sense there. Doesn't mean you can get a loan on it there. Doesn't mean that it's going to provide you a return there. So you need to structure this deal. And structuring deals is a little bit of an art, and you have to have the right knowledge and the right information in order to be able to structure it well. First and foremost, you need to have your market knowledge. You need to know what rents are. You need to know what cap rates are. You need to know what your OPEX, your operating expense ratio is going to be for that market. You need to know who your management company is going to be, how much they're going to charge you. You need to know what type of loan this will qualify for, what your interest rate is going to be. And a lot of this might seem like a ton of information for you to consume, but I promise you it's not. If you just spent 1 day, 2 days studying this information in your local market, you would have this knowledge to utilize moving forward when structuring deals and underwriting deals and negotiating deals. So you need to have local market knowledge, number 1. What the market rents are. Again, running through it. Market rents, what the price per door typically is. What your OPEX ratio is going to be, your operating expense ratio for that market. In other words, if you're bringing in $100,000 a year in income, and you know that the operating expense ratio for that market is 45%, then you know that $45,000 of the $100,000 of income is going to go away to operating expenses. And this is a quick tool that you'll use when underwriting deals to come up with your numbers and see if the deal makes sense or not. So the operating expense ratio. You need to know who the management companies are in the local area and how much they're going to charge you. That'll be factored into the operating expense ratio. But if you can't identify who a good management company is going to be, then it's hard to have confidence on the deal moving forward. Good locations will have good management companies that will manage your deals. All right. So then you're also going to want to know the cap rates, right? What is the market cap rate right now today? In 2020, the market cap rate was probably much lower than it is today. Now with higher interest rates, you need to know what deals are trading for and what people are selling for, right? That way you're not overpaying for a deal and you're coming in, at or below at least what market value is, right? Unless you have some other information that other people don't have. But that's just basic information that you'll be using to underwrite these deals, and I'm going to show you here in a second how that works, okay? Next, so you need to have the market knowledge. Next, what you need to have is you need to understand what's going on with the seller. What's the story? What's the motivation? Why are they looking to sell? Why are they looking to sell right now? Do they have debt coming due? How much debt do they have coming due? What did they buy this for? When did they buy it? When is their maturity date? How quickly do they need to sell? If they're not running up against the gun on their debt, then, is price more important to them? Are they open to seller financing? Do they like monthly payments? We're trying to figure out what is going on with the deal and why is this person selling. If it's operating inefficiently, who's managing the property? Why are they not staying on top of it? Why are they not pushing up rents to where they should be? Why are they overpaying on expenses when, they could be paying, way less just with another property manager, right? We're trying to figure out what's going on. Because if you don't have the market knowledge, it's going to be hard for you to underwrite the deal and structure the deal and spot and identify if there's even an opportunity with this deal. And then second, if you don't know what's wrong with the seller, what's going on, or what the story or the motivation is, then it's going to be impossible for you to present solutions to solve the seller's problem, right? And so you need the market knowledge in order to underwrite the deal. And then you also need to know what the seller's story is and what the story is with this property and what their motivation is to sell and all the needs that they might have with that, because you're looking to take your market knowledge, take the property knowledge, and then take your knowledge of the seller's motivation and the story of the property and present a solution that solves the problem for the seller and also solves the problem for you. Okay, so the underwriting steps are going to be running the deal through the 10-minute deal method. Okay, second, what you're going to do is you're going to underwrite the deal. Underwrite in 1, 2, 3, 4 different ways. And I'm going to show you all 4 of those ways today. You're going to underwrite it in 4 different ways. And then lastly, you're going to take these, your underwriting and your knowledge here, if it's a good deal and it passed the 10-minute deal method test, and you're going to present an offer to the seller, to the broker, to whomever it might be. Now, never present an offer if it doesn't pass the 10-minute deal method, if it doesn't pass your underwriting and there isn't a way to make it make sense, or if you're structuring it and it doesn't work with what the seller is asking for. If there's no deal, there's no deal. There's a lot of times that these deals are not deals, and it's okay to let those go and focus on the areas of opportunity where there is some actual motivation to get a deal done. So these are the steps though, right? Running it through the 10-minute deal method, underwriting it, structuring offers based on what the seller's motivation and the story of the property and the seller is. And then after that, presenting offers that work for all parties. So hopefully you get something done. So the number one way we're going to underwrite this is the cash flow formula. Let me share my screen for a sec. I'm gonna pick a property here to use as a real example. The cash flow formula. Oh, by the way, if anybody's interested, I'm gonna be spending about 2.5, 3 hours with you guys on Thursday evening going over the 10-minute deal method and the exact steps to do this in your local market. Today we're just covering some quick underwriting, but on Thursday, if you want to spend 3 hours with me, it's free. Just go to treuniversity.com/live training, and it's going to be a commercial real estate live training. Just me, you, other real estate investors who are looking to learn, and I'm going to show you guys how to utilize the 10-minute deal method to start growing your portfolio in your local market. I've been buying single-family houses, duplexes, fourplexes, small commercial deals for years. And the moment that we took everything that we had learned there and I started implementing it towards commercial real estate is the moment that we started to actually benefit greatly from all of the benefits that real estate has to offer. Cash flow appreciation, depreciation, equity, cash out refinance, leverage. You really need to fully understand this and be able to implement these steps in the 10-minute deal method in order to start growing and scaling your portfolio. All right, am I sharing my screen here? Kat, tell me a market. What market?
Does it have to be Texans?
Just pick one. No silence.
Baltimore.
No. Kat said Baltimore. We're going with Dallas. No, I don't want to save a search. All right, multifamily. Let's look at apartment buildings. Let's start underwriting some deals in Dallas. All right, we got 20 units, 54 units, 4 locations. We got 10 units, 20 units, 16 units, 115 units, unpriced. Yeah, this is good. I think it'll be good to show you guys how to underwrite these deals without even knowing a price. You don't need to know what somebody is charging or is asking to sell it for. Although, what do we have here? Such a wide array collection of pictures here. Let's see, we have 115 units, Total square footage, 73,000. Let's view their OM real quick. All right, table of contents, blah, 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 blah. What is going on here? Tell me about the property. Phase 1 under construction. Are they building this or something? All right, we're going to pick a different one. Okay, 32 units. Let's underwrite this one. Courtyard condos. I like this one. 32 units. Here's all of our pictures. Let's see here. It's just got information about, let's go there. Courtyard condos, 32 units, year built, 1983. Oh my gosh, I don't want to go through this whole process. Let's see what we have here. Let's assume these condos are, for the purposes of this, let's assume these condos are 750 square feet. They're all the same. 750 square feet. Let's assume that the rents are $1,350 a month. 1 bed, 1 bath condos, $1,350. And we know that there's 32 units. So let's underwrite it. What do y'all think we should offer? Looks nice, right? Looks nice. Doesn't look bad. Nice enough, at least. Seen a lot worse. How good is this location? Unsure in Dallas. But anyways, we're not running through the 10-minute deal method today. We're just running formulas. So they have 3.1 star reviews on Google. But let's do the cash flow formula. So first thing that you're going to do is you're going to take the number of units and multiply it by the rent. So key thing when underwriting deals is, if you're not a math wizard, grab your calculator. And you can quickly underwrite all these deals very fast with a simple calculator. This isn't, I don't know. This isn't PhD level math that we're doing here. It's very simple: addition, subtraction, multiplication, and addition. So what we're going to do first is we're going to take 1350 and we're going to multiply it by 32, right? Because we are trying to figure out what the monthly rent is. So which way? This way? Good. All right, so 1350 times 32 equals 43,200. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that and multiply it by 12 because I want an annual number. So 43,200 times 12 equals 518,400. 518,400. That is my gross annual income, not including other income, for application fees, late fees, etc., that I'm going to get here. And now I actually am going to add in my other income. Well, actually, I'm going to add that in here in a little bit. But 518,400 is my gross rental income if it stayed 100% occupied at $1,350 a month. $1,350 a month would be what it's being rented out for, and or the market rents for this property. So 518,400. Now I'm going to multiply it by the occupancy percentage because I need to account for some vacancy. It's not going to stay 100% occupied. So I'm going to take 518,400 and I'm going to multiply it by 0.93, which is what I think the occupancy will be here at this place, 93% occupied. And that puts me at times 0.93. That puts me at 482,112. Now, I do want to account for my other income here: application fees, late fees, pet deposits, pet rent, etc. And I'm going to say that my other income is going to be about 4% of my annual income after occupancy. So I'm going to take 482,112 and I'm going to multiply it by 1.04, and that's going to bring me up times 1.04. You see, I added that 4% there on top, and that's going to give me 501,000, give or take, of annual income. Now, what I'm going to do is I need to solve for my NOI. So here's my gross income, 501. I'm going to say that it takes 45% of my annual income to operate this property. So what I'm going to do is, instead of just subtracting my operating expense ratio of 45%, I'm just going to multiply my gross income times my NOI percent, which is the difference between 100 and my OPEX percent. So if my OPEX percentage is 45%, that means that my NOI is what percentage, Kat? If my operating expense ratio is 45%, then what percentage is my NOI? 55. Great job. All right, so I'm going to take 501 and I'm going to multiply it by 0.55 times 0.55, and that gives me NOI of $275,000 a year. This is my NOI if the property is rented out at $1,350, has occupancy percentage of 93%. I have my other income of about 18 grand, give or take, my extra 4%, and my operating expenses stay at 45%, then that means my NOI is going to be around 275,000. I wonder if they show that in here. They don't really. Let's see here. I wonder if they actually show the NOI on Crexy. Doesn't look like it. They're not sharing too much information on this property. Dallas. It looks like a good part of Dallas. Could be wrong though, but I think this is a good area.
So would you have to call it information for those that are learning?
Well, I'm going to show you guys how to underwrite it without having the information. That's kind of the whole purpose here is you should be able to underwrite deals without any information from the broker or the seller. But you have to have market knowledge in order to be able to do this. You have to know what rents are. You have to know what your operating expense ratio is. You have to know what your occupancy percentage is going to be. You have to know all these things in order to be able to underwrite a deal without ever having information from the broker. But yes, they should. I mean, if I wanted to right now with you guys, I just don't want to waste your time, is fill out this form, sign the confidentiality agreement, get access to the deal. But even after I do all that, it may not even have the information. So if you're going to seriously start underwriting deals, you need to learn how to do this without any information from the brokers or the seller. Okay? And that's what we just did here. Assuming all this information is correct. Now, the one thing I'm not sure about here is the rents, but I believe that the rents will be at least this. Could be more, maybe they're less, not positive. But having that market knowledge will allow you to underwrite the deal. So, are we still on shared screen? You can take me off if you want to zoom in here on this, because I'm running out of paper here. All right, so we have 275 NOI. Now, cap rate for Dallas, traditionally is probably like a 4.5. Right now, probably have to be a little bit higher. But I'm going to say that we want to buy this thing, and they're probably trying to sell this thing at like a 6% cap rate. Maybe less, depending on this scenario, right? I haven't called the broker. This is what we're doing here is after we make the phone calls, we learn the story, we learn the motivation. Maybe I call the broker and speak to this to them or the seller, and we learn that they have assumable debt at 2.75% interest, and that balance is X, and they're asking this price, right? But if I'm going to get a new loan today, my interest rate is going to be at least 6.5%, maybe 7%, even agency debt, maybe a little bit less. If you go to a local bank, your interest rates can be much higher. So I'm going to say that that they're either trying to sell this thing or we want to buy this thing at about a 6.5% cap rate. So that would put assuming all this is correct, I'm going to divide my NOI by 0.065, my cap rate. And that's going to put, by the way, I said that this is the cash flow formula, but actually this is my offer formula. So that's going to put my purchase price, I take 275, divide by 0.065, and that's going to put my purchase price at $4.2 million. Now, big question. What price is this per door? Divide by 32 units. That puts me at about $132,000 per door. Probably not unreasonable in Dallas. And if I'm paying $132,000 per door and my rent is $1,350, quick little note, that also meets the 1% rule. 1% of my purchase price per door and rents. Okay, so I'm going to utilize this as my purchase price, $4.2 million. My NOI was coming back here. Now we're going to do our cash flow formula. All right, so I've got 4.2 million price. I got 275 NOI. So now we are going to underwrite this, right? So you underwrite this utilizing the same thing here to get all the way down to your NOI. So we're just going to start there. So we have our NOI of $275,000. Now I need to figure out what my debt is going to be. If I were to get a 6.5% interest-only loan on $4.2 million, what I'm going to say is I'm going to put down about $4.2 million. I'm going to put down 35%. That means my loan is going to be 65%. So next I need to solve for my debt because I need to subtract it from my NOI. Okay, so to solve for my debt here at a $4.2 million purchase price with a LTV, loan to value, of 65%, I need to figure out what my annual debt service is going to be. So 4.2 million, do this. Put in your calculator 4.2 million, multiply it by 0.65, which gives you 2.73 million, and that is going to be your loan. My down payment is going to be 4.2 million times 35%, or 0.35. So my down payment will be 1.47. 1.47 down payment. All right. So now I'm trying to figure out what is my annual debt service going to cost me. So with a loan balance of 2.73 million, now I'm going to multiply this by what my interest rate will be. Let's assume that we can get a 6.5% interest-only loan from Fannie or Freddie. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my loan balance, 2.73 million, and I'm going to multiply it by 0.065. And the reason that I'm going to do that is because that is 6.5%. You're going to pay interest-only debt, and that is going to be your debt payment. So what that gives me is about minus $177,450 as my debt. This is my NOI. That's my debt. Now, the difference between those two numbers is my cash flow. So 275 minus 177 gives me about $98,000 a year in cash flow. So this is what I walk away with after paying all of my operating expenses, after making my annual debt payments, everything. I have $98,000 a year in cash flow. Now, what I want to solve for next is I want to figure out if this cash flow is a good return on my down payment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that $98,000 and I'm going to divide it by the $1.47 million that I'm putting down. So I'm going to take 98,000 and divide it by 1.47 million, and that is going to give me a 6.6% cash on cash return. I make $98,000 a year. I put down 1.47 million. That equals a 6.6% cash on cash return. Not too bad, probably pretty standard for Dallas. And if all of these numbers are accurate with what market rents are going to be, then this is not a horrible deal, especially if I can do other things to it. Now, let's say that this 6.6% cash on cash return is not acceptable to you or your investors. Then what we're going to do is we're going to try and figure out if the seller is able. Let's say we figure out that they are in a position to sell or finance this. Okay. Now we're going to solve backwards to figure out what does our debt payment need to be in order to get the cash on cash return that we want. And all this, again, goes back to step number one of learning the story, the motivation, what's going on with the seller, having that market knowledge, because now we're going to present the seller finance offer in order to be able to make this deal work if they're able to seller finance you the deal. So things still remain the same. Let's keep it at $4.2 million price. Our NOI is still $275. Okay, so now we're going to start solving for what our debt payments need to be to the seller in order to get this deal to make sense for us and our investors, right? So we have $275,000 worth of NOI. And let's say I want at least a 10% cash on cash return. So if I'm still putting down 1.47 million, that means that I need at least $150,000 of cash flow in order to be able to make this deal make sense. That's my return. That's 10% on my down payment. So what I'm going to do from my NOI, I'm now going to subtract my desired cash flow, $150,000. Okay, that leaves me with $125,000. Okay, this is my cash flow, my desired cash flow. This is my NOI, and this is going to be my annual debt service, ADS. Now, what that would mean is that the most I could pay this seller on a monthly basis towards my debt payments is $10,400 a month. Gets me to about $125,000 a year. So when I speak to the seller and I say, hey, it won't work for me to get traditional financing, but what I can do is I'll put down 35%, I'll give it to you, and I want you to finance the remaining 65% to me. Now, you have $275,000 worth of NOI. I need to get at least a 10% cash on cash return. That's $150,000. So that leaves the maximum allowable mortgage payment for me to only be $125,000 a year, or $10,400 a month. So here's what I'm going to do. And this is step 3. And what we're going over today is present the offers once you've underwritten the deal. But here's what we can do, Mr. Seller, is I'll give you $1.5 million down. You finance the rest of me. I'll pay your price. I know you don't want to come off your price. I know you think it's worth this much. I want to pay you this much. But in order to pay you this much, it won't work with the bank for me to get the return that I need. So here's what we need to do is I'll give you the price of $4.2 million. I'll give you $1.5 million down. I need you to finance the rest to me, and I can pay you $10,400 a month or $125,000 a year in debt service. And if they accept that offer, then that allows me to get my 10% cash on cash return. Maybe the seller says, no, that's way too low. I need more. I need more in annual payments than that. It's like, okay, well, we have a few options here. I can pay you more, but maybe I don't pay your price, or maybe I give you less down. And if you allow me to give you less down, let's say, $1 million down, then that allows me to move my annual cash flow needed to $100K versus $150. So I could pay you $50,000 more a year in debt service, or $175,000 a year, if you'll allow me to put $1 million down and you finance the rest to me. You see, now we're negotiating and we're pulling all these levers of what's most important to you. Do you want the price, the debt payments, the down payment? What do you need? And I can structure this deal to make it make sense for you and for me. Right? Now this will work when you have a seller who's ready, able, and willing to be able to work through these seller finance transactions. Now, I've shown you 3 formulas so far. The next formula is the added value formula. So this is the most important formula to me. I want to know, when I raise these rents and I raise the NOI, how much value am I going to add to this property? Because let's say $4.2 million is just about market value. That doesn't make me feel great. I'm not walking into a big spread. I don't have the ability to create a big spread. So I want to take these rents. Let's say that market rent actually is $1,500 for these units. That would mean that I can increase the rents by $150 a month. Now, when I'm able to do that, this is the added value formula. I'm going to take 150 and I'm going to multiply it by the number of units, which is 32 units, okay? Times 32, that gives me $4,800. Now I'm going to multiply that by 12 because I want to get an annual number. That gives me $57,600, okay? Now I'm going to multiply it by my occupancy percentage, which is still 93%, times 0.93. And that gives me 53,568 equals 53,568 of additional NOI that I'll get from this property when I'm able to increase the rents by $150 a month. Now what I want to do is I want to divide this additional NOI add. I want to divide this by what the market cap rate is, which let's say is, in a better time, it's actually going to be way lower. But right now, let's just say it is 6% divided by 0.06. That means I'm going to add $892,800 worth of value by coming in here and raising these rents. Now, also when I raise these rents, my cash flow is going to increase substantially, right? My NOI will increase about $54,000 a year. That means that I'll have additional cash flow as well. And so now I've underwritten the deal. I know a few things. I know about what I should offer on the deal. I know about what my cash flow is going to be with the bank. I know that if I'm able to structure a seller finance deal, this is where I need to be. And I know how much value I'm going to be able to add to the property and capitalize on the inefficiencies of the current management and ownership. So now, bringing this all the way back to where we started at the beginning, I've ran through the 10-minute deal method. I've spoken to the broker. I've spoken to the seller. I understand what's going on. I know the story. I know the motivation. I've ran it through it, passed the test of a good deal in a good location. I just need to structure it. I've underwritten it 4 different ways. Last but not least, I'm going to present the offer and hopefully get the deal done. Now, I know that a lot of this was a ton of information and equations and math problems, but and it took me 40 minutes to explain it to you. But if I wasn't explaining this to you and I wasn't trying to take my time and show you every single little step, I could have underwritten that deal in about 120 seconds or less. Just boom, 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 running through the numbers. And that's how quickly you should be able to underwrite these deals, especially once you know your market and you've run it through the 10-minute deal method. Now, I understand that some of you might not be there yet, but the only way to get there is by, number one, having the knowledge of how to do it, and number two, by putting it into practice and practicing over and over and over again. You got to get your reps in. You got to make these offers. You got to talk to the brokers. You got to know the market information. You got to know how to structure these deals and underwrite these deals. You got to know the formulas. And for those of you who might need a little bit of an extra step there, or taking us all the way back to the 10-minute deal method, if you don't know the 10-minute deal method and if you don't know the process of how to take these deals from A to Z, then you need to show up to our free training. It's this Thursday at 6 p.m. You can join via Zoom on your couch while you're cooking dinner, sitting at home in your boxers, whatever you want to do. But you need to join the free training. It'll be about 2 to 3 hours of me walking you through the 10-minute deal method and how we analyze these deals, underwrite these deals, take them all the way through the process to then scale a portfolio. These are the exact steps and processes that we use on a daily basis. If you haven't yet, you have to register to join that live training. Just go to treuniversity.com/live training. And I'll see you Thursday. But on Thursday, we're going to be going over this in much greater detail. And I'm looking forward to spending that time with you. So if you have any questions, reach out. If you have any deals that you want us to look at, send them to us. And I hope to see you on Thursday.